Let's talk right now about yet another set of record boat crossings in the Channel. It is just absolutely extraordinary, these numbers. Small boat crossings have hit a new record. 255 illegal migrants crossed the Channel on Monday alone in 4 boats. That brings the year's total to 16,712. That is more than the 16,420 by the same period, by the same date in 2022. It's the worst year so far. We had more than 45,774 Channel migrants arrive in 2022. It went down to 29,500 in 2023, but we are back on track for another record-breaking year. Let's talk about this with Stephen Wolfe, Director at the Centre for Migration and Economic Prosperity, who joins us now. Good morning to you, Stephen.
Good morning, Julia.
I mean, you know, well, we're smashing the boats, we're smashing the gang, stopping the boats. Everything's going to be fine soon, but just not quite yet under Labour.
No, I'm just thinking of another pop song that was in the 80s called Higher and Higher. The boats keep coming higher and higher. And that should be the song that's being played by the Home Office at the moment under the Labour Party, because there is absolutely no policy that they've created that will lead to a reduction in these numbers. Now, of course, we have to accept that Rishi Sunak's lack of faith in the Rwanda policy and any other form of deterrence has caused this. They've not prevented it in the past, but so far there is nothing in the Labour policies that they've announced that will lead to people smuggler wanting
indeed, smashing the gangs. Well, everyone's been trying to do that. You jail one set of smugglers, another lot will appear. There's money in these. You know, it's literally gold in these hills. There's a lot of money to be earned, but also, you know, we told people we're going to stop the boats. Rwanda would be a deterrent, and yet we had, you know, people smugglers saying ahead of the election, people can't wait for Labour to get in because we know they're going to end the Rwanda policy. I don't think it was going to be much of a deterrent. For me, it was a principle that the government could be allowed to do that rather than practicality. But why would we be seeing such high numbers? 2023 was, you know, huge. I mean, huge, 45,000 over the 29,000 the year earlier. So the year later. So I mean, why would the numbers be going back up to 2022 levels? What's behind that?
Okay, that's quite understandable because what we had is from Europol and also the European Border Force equivalent was saying that last year and towards the end of the year, they were looking at over 250,000 people coming from the Western Mediterranean route and up towards Italy. And so they saw huge numbers that were coming across, much larger than the years before.
And was that because of Giorgia Meloni in Italy basically clamping down?
No, it was just the fact that they were being helped across in the many ways by the NGOs that do so, and there was an influx, a large influx coming across all the 3 areas, but this was in particular. And they made a warning to the EU that these large numbers were coming in. And what you have then is the knock-on effect. It takes time for them to work with the internal people smuggling gangs that are often run by the Italian mafia to link up with their chains that push them through into Germany, into Holland, into France, and finally getting to the border of UK. So there was quite a low number coming through in relative terms the year before. Now we're seeing the impact of them coming. And we add to the fact that recently we've had some good summer weather, which enables them to get across.
Yeah, exactly. And again, when we've had, Rishi Sunak in the past hailing there have been low levels of crossings, largely it's been more down to the weather than to anything else, hasn't it? But I mean, in terms of what we've talked about this so many times, Stephen, what could actually make a difference? Because everyone talks a good deal on this, and Rishi Sunak said one of the 5 things he wanted to be judged on was stopping the boats. Well, we judged him on that. He didn't, and and he's been booted out. No question at all that Labour seem to think this isn't going to be such an issue for them because it's not such a big concern for their voters. If you're really concerned about this issue, you probably didn't vote Labour anyway. But it is a massive concern for a huge number of people in this country. Might be at the top of the list for some voters, but it's still way up there. And there is a criminal aspect to this. There is a cost aspect to this. There's a cultural aspect to this. There's so many different aspects. But is there anything that could be done that could actually tackle this?
Well, currently not by either the EU or by the Labour government, because they are looking at no policies to actually prevent people from coming in. There are talks by the EU that they can now have returns agreements with countries like Bangladesh and Thailand. That's a possibility. I mean, if we did so, I mean, certainly there was a large increase in those numbers of those countries over the last few years, but they're nothing compared to the African nations and the 3 or 4 major nations from the Middle East that come over, and we have no deals with them. The only way is to actually remove them from the United Kingdom and put them somewhere else. That's the biggest deterrent. Or the building of camps where they are maintained there even after their rejections. And I recently spoke about the rejections that come from. We have about 60% of people are rejected on their first claim for asylum. Yes, they do more get in on appeal, but that's more about the system that we're allowing them through discretionary. A lot get there and we never return them. Until we get such a deal, that always, therefore, going to be an enticement to come here.
Absolutely. It's just that simple, isn't it? Stephen Wolfe, really appreciate you joining us, Director at the Centre for Migration and Economic Prosperity. Ben